Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. So today I thought there's one of the quads that I haven't done from the new Charlotte Tilbury range, and that's the green lights, hence the green jumper. So I'm going to do my brows, and I'm going to use the Benefit brow duo. So this is precisely my brow pencil, which I love because it's got a very small tip. And only just discovered the other day that if you pull this side off, you have a spoolie. And then I'll use the Gimme Brow, and then we'll get on with doing the eyeshadows. Let's do this first. So I always start by brushing up, and I did give my brows a trim yesterday because I had a couple that were kind of growing up there. Couldn't find my brow scissors, but I used my nail scissors instead. Now this is really good, and it really does fill in your brows quickly, but just don't forget, once you fill them in, to give it another spoolie through, otherwise it's going to look too painted on. As you can see, that just doesn't look like a natural brow. And if you watch any Benefit tutorials, you'll see that they do that. So for every time they do that, every coat they put on, they then spoolie. I've overdrawn that bit, so I'll just get rid of that and I'll be right back. Okay, and now I'm going to do Gimme Brow. Now you can use Charlotte. Charlotte's will give you a slightly more natural look. So her equivalent products are the Brow Lift and Pencil and the Legendary Brows. I just like this because you can do them a lot quicker. Right, there's my brows done. Now for foundation, I used my La Prairie foundation and powder and concealer. I love the way that the foundation and powder looks on my face. I'm not sure whether I'm as keen as the concealer, to be honest, but I do love the foundation and it's a brilliant match on me. But that's not what you came to look at, is it? You came to look at the green palette. So, just to remind you all that this is the new Rebel palette, but it is exactly the same as the one that she's now calling Green Lights. It is there, it's in the description bar, but you have to look for it. I nearly bought Green Lights, and I'd have been so annoyed, but thankfully Shoshana, Rebecca pointed this out to me. So this is what the Green Lights palette will look like. It may have a green front instead, but it's the same as the new Rebel. So we're going to use that. And I'm just going to put some eye primer on, and I'm going to use the Fenty eye primer so that it doesn't alter the colour, so that you can see what the colour looks like. So I'll just get that out and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is called the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Amplifying Eye Primer, and I am going to have to get a full size of this soon, I think. Let me know in the comments below what eye primers you like. Have people tried the Urban Decay ones? I tried one that had a colour in it, and I wasn't overly impressed. But then a makeup artist told me, don't go for the coloured ones, go for the original. It's the best. And also, I think NARS was recommended to me. Let me know which eyelid primers you find are the best. And of course, you can always use a colour chameleon or another eyeshadow stick as a primer, but that is going to alter or accentuate your colour over the top. So there is the Fenty eye primer done. And now we're going to move on to this palette. Now, just before we move on, you could use, as I've said, a colour chameleon, and she does actually make this really simple. So bearing in mind that this Green Lights kit is for hazel eyes. She has 2 colour chameleons for hazel eyes, and they are both green as well. So if you wanted to, you could get one of these and use them as an eye primer. So let me just show you these. This one is golden quartz, which I love. And this one, she suggests for using, is this day or night? I think this may be day. Yes, this one, it doesn't say day, but the other one says night. And the one for nighttime is Smoky Emerald, which is a kind of more, it's a darker green and it's got more leaf green. So either of those you could use as a base for the Green Lights palette. And it's just good because the other ones don't all match up. So the one for brown eyes, for example, Dark Pearl is a grey, which would provide you a base, but it's not the same colour as the palette. And the one for blue eyes, the colour chameleon, is champagne diamonds for the day and black diamonds for night. And again, it's not necessarily going to work brilliantly with the palette for blue eyes. But this one, these two work brilliantly, as you can see. They would work brilliantly underneath this palette. So I can do that another day. But I wanted you to see what the palette looks like without a coloured primer underneath, just in case you're considering purchasing it. So first on in, I'm going to go in with this gorgeous gold, which is the eye prime. It's quite dark for an eye primer, so you may not want to put it over your entire lid. I'm just going to pop this on my mobile lid, and I'm going to do it on the inner corner, just about halfway along. Now, if you've got hooded lids, just a little tip. As you know, some of her palettes, the way she does them is she says, put the primer on the entire lid, and then she's very much into layering, as is Bobbi Brown. But if you have got hooded lids, another way you can do this is to do it like this, because then if you've got a matte, there's a sort of, it's not really a matte in this palette, the enhanced shade or the smoke shade, but in some of the others, you've got matte shades, then you can actually focus those on the outside without it getting too sparkly. When you get really shimmery shades on the hood, it kind of accentuates the hood. So this is one way that you can actually apply I've just swiped some of that onto my head. That was good. But this one is quite shimmery, but you'll just see how I apply it. So then taking the enhance, I'm just going to put the enhance the other side of the mobile lid, and then I'm going to start taking that into the socket like so. Now you could leave it at that for the day, to be honest, but I'm going to smoke it up. This is for hazel eyes, but for brown eyes, just as good, I think. I just make sure that you blend that middle line in so that it doesn't look too stark a line. Like so. And then I'm going to take this smoke shade, which has got quite a bit of sparkle to it. Let me just show you on my finger, and I'll try not to wipe my head this time. So that's it there. See, it really catches the light. but we're going to risk it in here. You can see it's quite dark, and it's going to need a bit of blending because of that primer underneath. But the good thing about Charlotte's pods is the colours blend beautifully together, so they're quite forgiving if you don't blend it very well. I have to go and tell my son off in a minute because I set him some work to do, and I can hear that he's not doing it, but he's talking online to his friends. And I'm sure that we are all in this situation right now. But he also, I've set him some work, and I said, if you complete the work, then the work that we do later on is going to be easy, because in his workbook it suggests he watches a film. And so I said, if you do your work, we can watch a film together. If you don't do your work, then you will have to finish it and then do some math sums. So it's up to him whether he wants an easy class this evening, late afternoon, or he wants a hard class. And I think the way it's looking, he's going to have a hard class. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that. I think I'm going to take the enhanced shade and just take that underneath. And just to start to pave the way for the liner. Okay, and then I haven't done the pop shade yet, have I? And I haven't highlighted under my brows. Now, the thing about this one is it's quite, I'm going to just dot a little bit with my fingers. It's quite dark to use as a highlighter under your brows. I can just about get away with it, but it's a little bit on the dark side to do that. So you might want to use your highlighter. And again, you can put this in here. It looks nice, but it's quite a yellow gold to be using in all the highlighty areas. But very nice if you take this gold and with this very fine liner brush, just make sure I've got that other green wiped off. It's very nice to take it under here. Looks really pretty there. Yeah, that's definitely not the work he's doing. I have to put my teacher's hat on in a minute. Okay, so next on in, we're going to take the liner, and I'll come back to the pop shade. Now, her pop shade is not your traditional pop shades. It is let me just show you what the pop shade looks like on my finger. So the pop shade is another powder, and it is beautiful. It gives a beautiful sheen, but it's not kind of, this one I don't think is really like a topper. So you have to be a bit careful about how you use it. Now, if you do want to use a pop shade, she did have, I don't know if she's still got this out, but she brought it back out again at Christmas, and it's Starlight palette of pops, which I can find for you in a second, and that would work really nicely over this palette. So next on in, we're going to use the liner. And first of all, I'm going to go along. It's a lovely bottle green, this. Let me just show you that. Now, the other thing you can do is use this dark colour chameleon as a liner. But I'm going to use this one first and just make sure that I've cleaned off my hands. So just bear with me a minute, because otherwise I'm going to end up with green eyeshadow all over my face. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to pull this taut. This is such a beautiful green. And I'm drawing it up and then linking it up to the top, like so. And then I'm gonna take it right into the corner there. And a nice, I'm not gonna shy away from the line this time. I know I've only got a little bit of mobile lid, so I don't always do that. I often make it very thin, but I just love the colour, so I don't mind seeing a bit more of it. Okay, now I'm just going to take my little brush and just smudge it out a little bit. Now you could use a smoke shade to kind of smudge it out and set it, but I just love this colour so much that I don't fancy doing that today. And then I'm going to use the metallic one in my waterline. And as someone was saying, you do have to go along a bit with this for it to show up on your waterline. Just keep patient and keep going back and forth. And let it just hit that lash line, because that's where it's going to stick the most. The other one that would look really nice with this is the copper one. And you could use the metallic side of the copper pencil. So you can mix and match these colour-coded eyeshadows and liners. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit here leading into that gold as well, because otherwise it looks like that green has just stopped a bit too suddenly. There we have it. And then I'm just going to do the boring bit, the mascara, and I'll be right back. And no, I haven't forgotten the pop shade. Okay, so I curled my lashes also with this little USB heated eyelash curler. And so we're coming to the pop shade. Now I'm going to just show you, I'm going to put a little bit of this pop shade on just to dab in the centre of my eyes. But you can see it kind of, it's okay. But it doesn't do a lot. Just adds a little bit more depth. Let me just try that with my fingers. Perhaps a bit more when you add it with your fingers. But it's not that kind of emollient pop shade that she used to have in her palettes. So it's given me a bit more depth. But if I move to my palette of pops in Starlight, which I know was out at Christmas, I'm going to take this one here, this green, and with my fingers, because this one you're supposed to use with your fingers, I'm going to put that one on instead. And this one should give me a bit more of a glow. And the more that I rub my fingers in, the more of a glow I will get. That's it. Okay, so that's the pop. Now I'm going to use a peachy blush to go with this look, because I think peach and green goes really well. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to get the blush. Okay, now I was actually going to reach for First Love blush, which is very peachy and it would go with this look. But I was watching not for print beauty this morning, not fit for print beauty, Rebecca, and she actually used one of these palettes. I think she used the dark one, which is called Lovegasm, and I'm going to use Lightgasm because that's quite peachy. So I'm going to just apply a little bit of that to my cheeks. I think I actually ended up using this light one more than the dark one. So it's got a peach, but it's got a bit of a pink. You can use the pink as a kind of pop in the middle. So I'll just do that. It's quite subtle on me at the moment, but that's fine. I don't really want a lot of really heavy blush with this look anyway, because the eyes are kind of the main attraction, as it were. And then I'm going to just get my highlighter brush, and I will use the highlighter and also the bronzer. Okay, so bronzer. And again, this isn't going to be a really dark bronzer on me because it's a Lightgasm palette. But just enough to lightly warm up my complexion. And if you get to the end of your eyeshadow, little tip here, if you get to the end of your eyeshadow and you just think, I want to blend it out a bit more at the top, again, if you just pinch your bronzer brush and dip it into your bronzer, as long as the bronzer's not too dark, and just go along like that, it's just going to be perfect transition shade and just help to blend out. And when you do that and you use products on your cheeks, on your eyes, I think Shoshana said this in her video, and it's very true. It kind of just brings everything together. Sometimes, even if you don't visibly notice that you've done anything, just that little splash, I'm just going to put a bit more of that pink because that's better. Right, and then I just want to use the highlighter because I haven't used that for a while. And this actually would work better as a brow highlighter under this. Let me just dot some over there. Yeah. The only thing with this palette is that the prime shade is a little bit too dark. I'll run some of that down here. Little triangle on my head. And over there. Okay, and then we'll finish it off with lips, obviously. Okay, so I need to sharpen it. I'm going to use Hot Gossip lip liner when I've sharpened the pencil. And then over the top, I'm going to use Glowing Jen. And that is my look for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will see you all very soon with another isolation station tip with Ali. If you have any ideas that you want for short videos on tips of how to do something, please let me know. And I'll be only too happy to do it for you. And I haven't forgotten that I will be uploading some photos of comparison swatches with all these 4 new quads as well. Okay, so I'll see you all very soon. Take care and have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Love you all. Mwah.